Hi, I'm Cody Sirkovich. We're here at Adobe Summit in the Adobe Summit think tank. I'm here with Jack Welde, CEO of Smartling. And Jack, really excited to be sitting with you here in the think tank. Would love for the audience to learn a little bit more about you guys. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Smartling does?
Good, thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be here. So Smartling's been in business for about 7 years. We are a company that has a software platform that helps companies to better translate and localize their digital content. And so essentially we power global brands that have a product offering that's applicable to people around the world in a lot of different languages. And we're able to, via software, capture and discover content in platforms like Adobe Experience Manager, pull that content into our system, route it to the most appropriate translation resources for that brand and that type of content, deploy it right back into the platform seamlessly, and then provide the full closed loop of analytics so that customers, our clients, can figure out what are the most appropriate things around translation, what are the most appropriate languages, what's working, what's not working, and how do I really optimize my global spend and the results that come with it.
So that's a lot. That's a massive thing. Our focus here at Summit this year is how to make yourself an experience business and make your business experience. So globalization, especially for big brands and companies that are looking to go global, experience is everything. So how do you guys think about taking globalization and tying that to customer experience?
Yeah, so at the general session today, that was terrific. I mean, I thought it was just a really amazing presentation, and there was one part in particular that resonated. There were a couple parts that resonated. One, Brad from Adobe talked about context and about the experience and how context is so relevant and critical to the overall customer experience. We agree. In fact, I would say that if you're trying to translate content, what does the word home mean? Does it mean where you're shipping my product, or does it mean my home page? And so part of what Smartling does is really understand that experience is dependent on context, and so we built a ton of tools to allow the translator to see what the context is and the reviewer to be able to see that. Now, to extend it further, there was a terrific demo, I don't know if you remember it from this morning, there was a terrific demo. I think Lonnie from Adobe was presenting a concept where there was sort of a fictional banking site where she said, let's pretend your customer is a 45-year-old male, and what's going to resonate with him, and showed sort of a picture of a 40-something male in a particular language and particular content, and then said, but what about a younger woman, and what might she like to see, and that the Adobe software can do incredible stuff to be able to find the right optimal experience. And my thought was, and what if they speak Chinese? And what if they prefer French? Because the imagery is great. The stock images, the images from their dam are fantastic, but how do you take that and then extend it beyond that to what's the preferred language? What payment types might they prefer? What currencies might they prefer? And just general localizations that are going to resonate with the cultural audience. And so we love what Adobe's doing around content and data and analytics and all the machine learning to close that loop. And Smartling, as an Adobe partner, is extending that to global content and data and all of the analytics and the machine learning to help our customers to optimize their global brand experience.
When our joint customers are thinking about customer experience across all these really widely ranging cultures and different languages, what are the types of considerations that Smartling allows them to take into account when they're trying to deliver a really personalized, relevant experience across borders?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, no company can translate all of their content into every single language. It's just too much, it's going to cost too much, it's going to take too long, and some of them are not going to be effective from an ROI perspective. So some of the considerations are, first of all, what languages, what type of content, and if you think about the whole content experience, some of that content is really just, it's creative, it's marketing content, and it may have taglines and cultural references that if you just translate it, may not resonate with a global audience. And so, I like to say that talking about American football analogies to a British audience is going to resonate about as well as cricket analogies are going to resonate with Americans. So finding those sort of right cultural nuances, particularly around creative content, is really, really important. And so the first thing we say is slice up your content. This content, you've really got to put effort and time and investment in, because it's creative and almost like locale-specific copywriting or transcreation, as my industry calls it. Now, this other content can be more structured. It can be just sort of translation from English to French, translation from English to Spanish, and it can be less expensive, less time-consuming, and even this part right over here, which is lower impact and is not really driving customer engagement or conversion, you might be able to use machine translation. Think about like highly repetitive support content and use computer-generated translation that is fully targeted to your brand, not like a generic machine translation for all content for everyone. And so part of what our software does is allow for that slicing up of content to get that nuance right, get it right the first time, but also optimize your spend to attract and convert and retain customers.
And does that evolve the more that you use the platform, and does it get more tailored and more
Totally.
personalized over time?
And in fact, what you're really doing is some form of a Pareto analysis, right? What's the 20% or whatever of your content that has 80% of your impact? And let's really put an investment there, and then find less expensive but still relevant ways of translating that content. Well, once that's done, then you run the same analysis again using our software. And if there is a component of your content that you are computer generating the translations, your machine translating that, we can launch a brand or company or product specific translation engine that gets better every single time there's human input into the process. And so it really is as you said, it gets better over time, and everything that you do makes the whole overall experience better. We can provide the reports and the analytics that help you to make smart decisions about it.
So how do you know when you're ready to think about globalization and how to make that a priority as you're driving towards becoming an experience business? When are companies ready for that? When should they really start considering it?
Yeah, boy, it's such a great question, and I think it really depends on your company and your vertical. We have clients that are very fast-moving, very fast-growing Silicon Valley, Bay Area venture-backed consumer web and mobile companies. Probably most of the apps that you have on your homepage of your iPhone, are clients. And from the beginning, those types of companies recognize that, hey, we have a product that's going to resonate with a global audience, and so we need to be in 25 languages right away to expand our growth as quickly as possible, to protect against clones or whatever else. There are other companies that use a particular event. Maybe it's a large manufacturing firm. Maybe it's a large travel and hospitality firm. And oftentimes, as they're replatforming, as they're saying, hey, we think Adobe Experience Manager is the premier content management system out there, and as we're replatforming, let's start to think about how we might personalize our content more for a global audience. Language, I think, is the most basic form of personalization. And how do we build that into our replatforming efforts so that once we get that in place, we can really reach and resonate with a global audience?
So as we leave the audience today, what is the one thing, even though it's really hard to dilute this down into a single thing, but if you could distill this into a single recommendation or a call to action for the audience around how globalization and experience are so tied together and what to think about and where to start, what would you say?
Yeah, I would just say that as companies are thinking about globalization, they should think about, like every other industry, how software, technology, and data can be combined to produce better outcomes. And translation isn't just, hey, let me go hire a guy that speaks French and knows that, hello is bonjour. Let me think about all of the technology for capturing, organizing, analyzing my content, routing it through the appropriate workflows, measuring that, combining technology and data to produce better translation outcomes.
That's great. We appreciate it. Again, we're here with Jack Welde, CEO of Smartling. Thanks very much for joining us in the Adobe Summit think tank. Stay tuned for a lot more great content. All right.
How was that?
Appreciate it. Great.
Good. Thanks. You did great.
That was really solid.
Thank you.